It's time for The Hard Way Podcast, the saga of an award-winning journalist trying to make it as a family man, despite having no idea what he's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Matt Schorr.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out another episode of the Hard Way Podcast. This one's dropping just days before our big trip to the Trans World Halloween and Attraction Show. My wife and I are really excited about this. So be sure to check back in the next episode because I will definitely be providing an update, let you guys know about all the spooky shenanigans that we get into there. Trans World is always an adventure. But speaking of adventures, I did have a recent one that took place over the holiday, through the new year, and into today. It's been such a long, drawn out process that, I'm going to invite you all to once again relax, sit back, laugh at my pain. But first, quick word from Schorr Manor. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to visit the official Schorr Manor online t-shirt shop, the purveyors of all things spooky and all things Halloween, as long as it's in t-shirt form. You can find it at mattschorr.net. Just click on shop at the top of the page. And while you're there, be sure to use the promo code journalist and get 10% off of everything in the store. Once again, that's mattschorr.net and click on shop at the top of the page. Hey, dear. Disney would have you believe they're lovely, that they enter this world as adorable fawns who stumble around on ice ponds and befriend every other creature in the forest, then grow into majestic stags who stand tall as kings of the woods. But they aren't. Not even close. Now, the only true thing that can be said for a deer is that its sole purpose in life is to act as some kind of bioengineered four-legged torpedo for any vehicle that enters its field of vision. You can probably guess the story I'm about to tell. I just picked my son up from school on a crisp fall afternoon. The sky was blue, the leaves were orange, the temperature was great. Honestly, looking back, I should have known something out there was just itching to screw the whole thing up. Cue Bambi, stage right. I didn't see him right away, but Callum did. He started calling out, "Deer, deer, deer." Now, he calls out random things all the time, though. So once, without any prompting, he asked if I remembered the time we traveled into space to find Nemo and Dory and rescue them from Emperor Zurg and Wreck-It Ralph. So the fact that he was actually warning me didn't register. Then Bambi edged out of my blind spot and entered my field of vision. He began as a light brown blur in the corner of my eye, then came into focus through the passenger side window. It was this point I turned and focused on this incoming kamikaze. And no, I'm not using that term flippantly. Bambi had some sort of death wish or was under some woodland terrorist cell's orders to launch himself face first at the first vehicle he saw. I know this because not only did he match my speed, but when I hit the brakes to try and let him cross the road in front of me, he slowed down too. It was here, at this last crucial second, that I saw his face. Time didn't slow down, but I can see why some people think it does in these moments. Because in that half second of time, I saw Bambi clearly. His eyes were wide, his mouth was open, and he had an expression of absolute resolve that I've never seen on a deer before. Then he collided, snout first, with my driver's side headlight. The van barely registered the impact, but I knew there'd be some kind of consequence. I tried not to curse and probably failed while I slowed to a complete stop. I looked at the mirror and saw our attacker doing about 30 somersaults into a ditch. I got out to check the damage, which amounted to a smashed headlight and just enough cracks around it that I knew that meant the entire front end was going to have to be replaced. And then I looked at the ditch for my newfound enemy who, like a ninja, had already disappeared. I shook my head and muttered, "I hope that hurt." It took over a month to get this thing repaired. No, a month and a half. First, there was the bureaucracy of insurance, Then there was a backlog of other vehicles ahead of mine. Yep, I'll be fair. That's just reality, but didn't make it any less frustrating. Now that it's fixed, now that the headlight looks like nothing happened and everything is back to normal, maybe I'll finally manage to forgive that fur-covered terrorist. After all, he probably got the worst part of that transaction. I don't even want to think about the headache that came after. But I'm not there yet. That was one seriously long month. So I hope that headache hurt too.
Upcoming events.
On the weekend of February the 2nd through the 5th, my wife and I will be attending the Trans World Halloween and Attraction Show in St. Louis, Missouri. So, throughout the entire month of February, be on the lookout on all of our social media channels for all sorts of spooky Halloween content because Trans World is always a great time. There's so many things to see, do, hear, people to talk to. It's always great. We come up with a whole lot of cool stuff. So, be on the lookout for that one. And then in the next month, March 18th, I will be returning to Clarksville Con right here in my hometown, Clarksville, Tennessee. That one is held at Quality Inn, Exit 4, right there at the heart of the financial business district of Clarksville, Tennessee. So feel free to stop by and check that one out. Say hi to me, all the other creators who are there. It's always a good time. The following month, I'll be at the Louisville Con, which will be held at the Triple Crown Pavilion. That'll be April the 8th. Once again, if you're in the area, stop by and say hello. Then the following month will be Free Comic Book Day on May the 6th, the holiest of all holidays for comic book readers like myself. Stop by Rick's Comic City in Clarksville, Tennessee if you're in the area. Say hello. There'll be some other creators there, and show Rick some love while you're there as well. And then on June, the weekend of the 9th through the 10th, is the Superman celebration in Metropolis, Illinois. Always a big deal in that town, and I try to go back every year. Stop by and say hi to me, the other creators, all the other cosplayers and fans who are there. And if you see him, tell Superman I'm waiting for him. And that wraps things up there. So I think now we're going to be winding down as we move on to
Cheap plugs.
This podcast is a production of Schorr Manor Studio, an indie publishing and production house for all things spooky. Be sure to look us up on YouTube by visiting tinyurl.com/Schorr Manor YouTube, or just search for Schorr Manor. We'll show up right away. All of this show's episodes are there with full video, so check that out. You can also sign up for our official newsletter at tinyurl.com/Schorr Manor newsletter and get all of our latest news and announcements delivered right to your inbox. Be sure to sign up and maybe even tell a friend or two. If you'd like to connect with me directly, there are several ways that you can do that. You can find me on Twitter at @TheMattSchorr, on Instagram at TheSchorr, and on TikTok at @TheOneMattSchorr. That's the number one, Matt Schorr. Or just by email at mattschorr@hotmail.com. And you can look us up on our official website at www.mattschorr.net, where you'll find this and previous episodes archived, not to mention our online book and t-shirt stores. Just click on the podcast link at the top of the page. So thanks again for checking out this episode. And remember, keep reading and keep listening. Thanks.